everyone.
There you go. You were muted.
Hello, everyone.
Okay, we were just listening to a song, and I would like to know if any of you can guess.
I know Belinda knows this song.
Tiff was rocking out. Let's give them one hint, and then they have to guess what song Tiff was just rocking out to. What's the gap? What's the little tip?
It has something to do with a city.
Okay, you guys, what song was Tiff just rocking out to? It has something to do with a city and building it on something. Hi, Faruza from England. Hi, Trish. Hi, Kate, Cheryl, Catherine,
Luann, Jackie, Merritt.
Facebook user, maybe Helen, Belinda, Catherine. We're so glad you're all here with us. Merritt, welcome. Okay, what song do you think Tiff was just rocking out to before we came live? Something about building a city. Yeah, Kate got it. Cheryl.
Nice, Kate.
We built this city on rock and roll.
So listen, I have PMS right now. What that means.
It has a meaning. It has a meaning.
For women that are in a menstrual cycle still, which I am, which is glorious, but I have 1 week a month where my progesterone is so high and it's very sedative. And so it makes me really like this. So I was just sitting here. It was 3 minutes before our class. And it just came into me so clear to turn on We Built the City on Rock and Roll. So I freaking blasted and sang it.
And while she was doing that, I was filling up the water baby bottle because it's the size of a baby. It takes a good 2 solid minutes to fill that. So now you know a little bit about us. And I was chewing on some Trader Joe's peanut butter filled pretzels right before we got on.
Good.
So if I have any in my teeth, that's what it is.
Yeah, so that song made me feel so much better. You know why? Because music boosts your serotonin. So there you have it.
It's going to be an amazing class today. Today's topic is all about specifically romantic relationship challenges, struggles, the things that go on for you, the empath, especially. Now, we very much realize and recognize being in a committed, intimate relationship is not for everyone, and not everyone finds themselves in one at this moment. Either way, the things that we're talking about today are very important for you as an empath to understand about yourself and really learn and get healthier with yourself so all of your relationships feel better.
Yes. So I'm just trying to think before we dive in. We have to do
we have to do the Rebel deck.
Our Rebel deck cards.
Okay, Tiff's going to do a tarot card reading. So you, our listener, please, please, please pick a question, something that you would like an answer to. And Tiff is the one that's selecting her own question this time. So we'll get that question answered.
Can y'all do this with your eyebrows?
What about this with your tongue? What about this?
I can't do that.
What about tying the end of a cherry, maraschino cherry, in the stem into a knot?
No, that's your skill.
Right.
I guess we got a little distracted with silliness.
I'm not alone. Belinda loves the peanut butter pretzels too. She can't leave them alone. Merritt loves them too. And Luann loves them too. Trish, no cherry. Belinda, did you say yes and yes? You can do all the tongue things that we just showed. Trish said I can't do all 3. Jackie, yes and yes. Both of you and your tongue, damn it. We're like on one. We're on one today.
That's good.
It's Thursday.
We just got done doing our podcast of the very same topic. So Catherine, I'm sorry that we're freezing. Sometimes it freezes for some people and it doesn't for others. So hang in there. We will be back.
If we ever get lost, we'll be back.
And also we have, this will be recorded. So if something happens, it's like, you can watch us later. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So get your question ready. I'm getting ready. I've got my question. Today's my question. So now I'm going to pick the cards. Ooh, that's a good one. There's the other one. And number 3, Come to mama. Oh, there it is for sure.
Okay, let's do the reading of these cards.
My question is, what does the universe want to tell me today?
Okay. You ready for the first one?
Yes.
Rebel.
Ooh.
Because fuck it.
That's what the universe. Oh, I don't think that one's for me.
Okay, the next one. You got a feeling you just can't shake. That little voice inside you, listen to that shit.
Well, the voice inside my mind is like, after doing this, you go get a boba.
Like you need a card reading to tell you that. Okay, the third one, stop sleeping too damn much. Oh, so damn much. Wake up. Wake up. You're missing some cool shit.
Yeah, that wouldn't be me. I think it's like, I'm going to go get a boba. That's what my
You got the feeling
is.
you can't shake? That little voice inside you? Listen to that shit. That's tips. So rebel, because fuck it. Number 2 is you got a feeling you just can't shake. Listen to that. That little voice inside you, listen to that. Stop sleeping so much. Wake up. You're missing some cool shit. Okay, Cheryl's was number 2. Merritt, number 2. Luann, 1 and 2. Awesome.
Who's the one that's sleeping too much? Pony up.
Trish said, I didn't sleep at all. I need a nap. Cheryl, number 1. Fruza, number 2. Oh, you guys are awesome. All of them. Who are you, Facebook user that said all of them? Just type your name in so we know who you are. Another Facebook user said number 2. Awesome. 1, 2, and 3. Jackie, way to go. Kate Nagy, 2.
Good.
Awesome, you guys.
Yeah, number 2 was a good.
You got a feeling you just can't shake. That little voice inside you, listen to that shit. These are awesome. They are the Rebel deck all the way. What is it called? Tarot with an attitude or something?
Yes. It's tarot with the F word is what I call them. It gets us all a little excited.
It is so awesome.
The F word is pretty awesome.
Well, it happens. It happens. If you have kiddos and you don't want them to hear all those crazy words, just pop in your headphones.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Jackie, you just got up. That's cute. Okay, so today's topic is a really, really great one. It's about relationship. It's about intimate relationship. It's about you, the empath, in your romantic relationship. Mm-hmm. Or relationships. I guess it could be more than one.
I do have to share a couple show and tells because I love to show and tell so much. I bought these beautiful leather books so that I could write my thoughts and certain things. Look how gorgeous these are. Leather. Are they not beautiful? I've been looking for a book to write sacred things down on, and I've been looking for a year. And look at these pages. It's like really thick. It feels like homemade paper, and look how gorgeous. Is that not just stunning? Arama.
The leather is very nice.
Oh,
too.
And it smells leathery deliciousness. I just had to share. And then I also have to share my devil shoes with you.
Oh, these shoes. To me, when
so
I
have plantar fasciitis. I get this often. I've had it 4 times in my life, especially when I'm doing something really amazing in life. It's like my unconscious mind is afraid or something and makes my foot act up. So like I'm working on that bitch. So I buy these shoes off of Amazon because I'm like, these look awesome. And I read the reviews and it's like, it does really great things for your feet, but it hurts so bad. And I'm like, ooh, this will be exciting. So here it is. It has all these little knobs that go down. You step on it and it's all these pressure points.
Oh,
it hurts so bad. I can only stand in them for maybe 20 seconds. But it's made a really big difference in my feet. These are like jade buttons. These are just plastic, but oh my God, you stand on it and you feel like you are going to die. So this is what I've decided. When I'm feeling like I need a little excitement in my life, I put my shoes on and I force myself to brush my teeth with them and then take it off. And then everything in life feels so much better because that was so intense.
I love that.
It actually has helped my feet though.
All sorts of delightful
It's my
things.
built-in foot zoner.
And if I like act up and have to be put in timeout, she'll be put on this.
I'm like, this is your punishment,
and walk around the block. Better yet, jog.
Yeah. So, yeah, I know about the tennis ball. My unconscious brain is very sneaky trying to slow me down, but I've never been slowed down a goddamn day in my life. Anyone that knows me knows it's true. So, you know, we all have our stuff. Wish I could say I was perfect and that my brain was like never playing tricks on me, but that would be a lie.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's right before we jump into all the relationship stuff. Like, let's really like talk about this. Like, let's get real, shall we? Just because you are really smart and conscious and aware. I mean, talking about Tiff, like she knows all the tricks. She does it all. She has the answers. She's psychic. She's a medium. She gets downloads, this, that, and the other. And she's a fucking human being.
Yeah.
Just like all of us.
Yep.
And no matter, and I a lot of times see in the world of people that are doing self-help, inner work, really working on their becoming more consciously evolved, trying to get to the point where we just have that steady smile on our face and nothing gets us down.
Yeah,
and
whatever.
we just choose to do this and that and the other. It's like, let's get real for a second. We are all having a human experience on purpose.
Yeah.
That means we all have to poop in the toilet or on the ground.
Or pick up your dog's poo.
Every single day. It's like, let's get real. Shit is going to happen. It's going to be, you're going to have different little things that pop up, aches and pains that you get to look at and identify.
Yep.
And the more you know, the more power you have, but you're still a human being.
Yeah, if you really do know me, you know I'm pretty freaking real. I mean, I can get on and talk about PMS and I can talk about fibromyalgia, diarrhea. Like, it's just like the human condition is really interesting because I think oftentimes empaths will feel like if I can just find the tricks of the trade and all the secrets, I'm going to feel good all the time because when I feel bad, I feel so bad. And that's not a reality. Jack and I are here to offer you tools and tips and tricks to help you get back into alignment when you get out. Because guess what? That is what this experience is about.
Seriously.
Including for us. And
seriously,
we hear from people all the time. Will you please share with us, you know, your relationship secrets, or how do you have such a great relationship? Or we've seen your picture. We can see how connected you are and you love each other so much. It's all true. And we are twin flames. There's no question about it. And it has been the most amazing and hellacious relationship ever. And would you agree?
Oh, yeah.
Is there anyone that can make you madder than me?
No one on the planet. No one. No one's seen me angrier. I've never felt angrier. I've never lost my shit bigger. This is it. This is the big kahuna. And it's big. Really big.
And we've done relationship coaching for years for empaths. We don't do that as much now because we're really focused on helping empaths create the lives they want and manage their nervous system. But we have a lot to share. And I wish we had days and days and days to share things. But there's a way, if you choose to be in relationship, there's a way to do it well as an empath. Now, if you are completely happy, single, awesome.
More power to you.
Seriously. Yeah. And you can use these tips and tricks for, you know, close friendships and things like that. You can use them all. But many empaths want to be in committed relationships or have a mate or a spouse, and they're just terrified, or they're in one and it sucks. And so we're just going to talk about some things, and we're going to use our own experiences because I'm a full-blown wild empath. Jack is a highly sensitive man, and we've been together for 15 years, and we have figured some things out. And do we still have days where things aren't fantastic? Absolutely.
Totally.
Like this morning when I was telling Jack about his clothes. I'm like, I absolutely hate this shirt. And he's all butthurt about it. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, you've got to go to work because I don't want to feel your feelings.
And I'm thinking in my head, thank God I have an office to go to.
Right.
And at the very same time, I'm like looking at my shadow, looking at my ego, having a little conversation with myself, getting real with myself, accepting all these parts and pieces of what's coming up for me. Then I call my wife, leave her a little message and tell her how fucking much I love her and how glad I am to be in this journey with her. So there you go, keeping it real, folks.
Yeah.
That was this morning.
Yeah.
And we have
I think I even said, well, we're doing the relationship show
like,
today. This is perfect.
Of course.
Oh,
that's the truth. That's the truth right there.
Yeah. So our relationship really is pretty amazing. I would say 95% of the time it's delicious bliss land. The other 5% is nasty as F. And it's because we are both willing to come to the table and look at our own shit every single time. I have shared this before that my marriage is number one in my life, other than my own self-care and connection to source. It is the most important thing in my life and will continue to be so, just because that's a core value of mine. And so not everybody feels that way, but for those that really want a thriving relationship as an empath, we have some great tips and tricks for you today, and to talk about some of the challenges and get real about it. And we're going to share some of our story around these very tips and tricks. I am sharing quite a few things from an article I found called The Big Challenges Empaths Face in Romantic Relationships and How to Overcome Them. It's written by Tanya Carroll Richardson. And I just want to thank her publicly for the great information, because it really fits with what we have come to understand in a highly sensitive relationship. And we're madly in love with each other. And there's things that we have to do to manage our relationship well. So what do you think about that?
I said, let's do it.
Okay, so let's talk about the number one challenge, not the number one challenge, but a challenge.
Number one of the challenges we're talking about today.
Yes, is fear of intimacy and getting closer. Ta-da! So there's a fear of like going deep or losing yourself in relationship. How many of you have had this very palpable fear? If I get into a committed relationship, I could easily lose myself.
Oh, that was where I sure lived.
Well, let's talk about that story, shall we?
Yeah. One of my biggest fears was going in when I was a kid, and I really believe this stems from my childhood being raised. I was trans. I was a boy born in a girl's body, super confused, didn't understand what was going on, who I was. And all I knew is it didn't feel like a very good fit to ever have to be married and do it the way I was seeing in my life. Everything I saw, I just had a story. I'm like, I don't ever want to get married. Well, I did get married, and I ended up having 4 kids, and that was before Tiff. And I was married to a man for 19 years. And Tiff was also married to someone for 21 years. And it was rough. And then when Tiff and I met, I loved her, and I was scared to death I would just lose myself more. But the losing myself, it was all an illusion in the way that I was looking at it. But I had a real fear of losing myself in relationship, legitimately.
So I learned about this. We had gone to Hawaii for a little getaway, and we came home, and we were not living together at the time. We were actually only friends at the time, like best friends, thinking about each other crazily, trying not to be together, But we did go and have a great time in Hawaii, and I came home and I didn't hear from Jack for 7 days, which was super weird because we were together 24/7. And I kept texting. If he did answer, it was a short text, or he just wouldn't respond at all. So I hauled my ass over to his house and I said, what is going on? And he said, I'm not even sure how long you're really going to stick around. And I am terrified of losing myself. I'm so afraid I'm going to lose my freedom. And it was a foreign concept to me because I love to lose myself in love, but I don't think I really lose myself like some people feel like they
And like Belinda
will.
said, she doesn't fear that, but then plenty of
Yeah.
others of you
Not
say,
everybody feels this, but it's pretty common.
Yeah. And for me, it was really stemming from that place of I was very, very, very acting very codependent all through my young life based on the experiences I had as a kid and losing a parent's love if I didn't do it a certain way and blah, blah, blah. And so I legitimately felt like I would just have to do it her way. And therefore, AKA, that would mean I would lose my own autonomy, my own right to choose, because I'd have to choose it her way to keep her happy, keep the peace, and keep being loved. And as I was able to really look at that, see it, I can honestly tell you right now, I've never felt more free in my life. Being in this committed relationship for 15 years, well, like solid. Is it 15?
Yeah.
Wow. Here for 15 years is the best, the most free I have ever felt ever. So it was a grand illusion. But let's talk about, Tiff, let's talk about what really does happen for empaths specifically where they may feel like they're losing themselves.
Well, empaths feel their partner's energies and emotions. So if you're single, you have plenty of space and time to rest and recover without other energies around you. But if you're with someone all the time in a committed relationship, you can feel all of that and kind of get lost in it. And, you know, I was of the camp that I just love. I'm such a passionate lover person that I love to be enveloped by Jack's energy. But Jack's a pretty happy guy most of the time. In my first marriage, I was married to a guy that was so anxious. I don't know if I ever saw a day in his life that he wasn't riddled with intense anxiety. And I didn't spend very much time with him because I couldn't stand the feeling of that. And so you have to really make sure that you are creating mindful space when you're like mindfully space creating. So you have to have time apart. This is absolutely critical. You know, what's really interesting is when Jack and I met, we were, and I think because of the twin flame thing, we're just so innately connected on an energy level. It was sometimes hard to tell who he was and who I was because we just felt like the same person. And we were together 24 hours a day until my brain injury almost 2 years ago. And then we were really together. Like he couldn't even leave the house for 2 seconds because I was recovering and I was so sick.
And I think the brain injury for you was that way and COVID for everyone else. I mean, COVID and the pandemic has really, this is going to be very, very critical and important is that you get your own space.
Well, I knew that I needed to heal and I needed to not have anyone's energy in my space to be able to heal. I could feel it. And so Jack and I made a decision and we changed our whole business. We used to team coach together. So like what we're doing right now is what we would do in our offices. And so he decided to do his clients this way and I did my clients this way. And he went to the office and I had our office here at home for me. And now on Monday through Thursday, we're apart about 12 hours a day, which was such a huge shift and change. But I then began to understand and realize how critical it was for me. And I'll let you share how it was for you to heal and actually be in the presence of my own energy without the influence or having to consider another person's energy in making certain decisions about what I'm doing was absolutely critical for my health. And I feel more empowered. I feel happier. I feel more centered. I feel better in life. And then when we do come together at night and on our 3-day weekends that we have every week, it's total amazement. It's amazing. But it's been very, very good for my well-being and my health and my mind and everything about me. And that was a surprise to me. So that's why we're talking about, it's really important for you to mindfully create space so that you have time to recover from whatever. How about you? How was it?
Yeah, I wouldn't even call it for me time to recover, but the creative, mindful space for myself, I love it. And I just have more focus. I can focus easier. I have time to be kicking through my own schedule, rather than, just like Tiff, just like you said, taking another person in consideration from the angle of space.
Yeah, and you've always said when you're home, you have a really hard time working because you just want to play.
Yeah, I want to play and I want to watch a movie and let's go do this. Let's go run the roads. Let's go, I just want to have fun. And so I can focus more when I'm at the office.
Yeah, unless I send texts.
Which she does.
Sometimes.
But they're worth it. Every single one. Yeah.
So mindfully creating space, and you will have to have a conversation with your partner and say, I love you and I need time to recharge. So I need some alone time. And you can do it a myriad of different ways. I mean,
yeah, and I just want to speak to Feruza. Said after my divorce, I can't trust anyone. I'm very scared of being hurt. So single's better now. And Feruza, I think you've been single for 20 years or so. And the truth is everyone gets to choose for themselves what they prefer. And also if you ever changed your mind, wanting to be in a relationship, going after the limiting beliefs that are telling you why this one person makes it so there's never anyone that you can ever trust again. And that becomes more of an issue of doing some of that limiting belief clearing work, which is our specialty, by the way. But your choice is the most important thing. What you're choosing for yourself. If it works for you and you feel great,
it's perfect.
Absolutely.
Everyone's different.
Yep.
Okay, number 2. This is where you will put your partner's needs before your own, and sometimes not even realizing it. How many of you have consistently put someone else's needs before your own? Own up. Come on, you can do it.
I definitely did.
And I've actually struggled with this with Jack. And I've always said I'm extremely flexible. And it really comes down to empaths oftentimes don't want any kind of confrontation or conflict. And because it drains us so hard. And I feel like as I was aging, this last couple of years has changed everything for me. But as I was aging, I was realizing that I'm like, I just don't have the energy to deal with someone else's conflict. So it's easier for me to just say, okay, we'll do it your way. I can deal with that. And then it just keeps the peace. And I found myself doing that quite a bit through our relationship until probably the last few years. And it can get a little tricky because then you start getting resentful and you're like, oh, they don't really care about how I feel. And it's because you're not recognizing that what you want is just as important as what your partner wants. And it's okay to have that challenge or conflict of like, oh, no, I really don't want this, but I want it. And it's like, well, I don't want it. It's okay to feel that because all those feelings go away.
I'd like to speak to a couple of the comments.
Okay,
I'd like you to speak to it. Kate said, yes, because our needs blended to me. I didn't realize which were mine and which were his.
Yes.
Not so much anymore, but at the beginning of our relationship.
For sure.
So that's one of them.
Super common, Kate. That is super common. And especially if you ever were conditioned to focus on the needs of others before you met your spouse, you'll naturally just move into that and it'll feel comfortable until you start getting pissed and you're like, why am I so upset? And you do get to a point where you're like, I don't want that. I want something that I want, and it matters what I want. And that's what you have to realize is that your wants and desires and needs are just as important as your partner's. And oftentimes you'll find that your partner really does want to know what you want or need, but because you're so afraid of being rejected, you never say anything and they're left guessing. So they're just like, well, I know what I want, so I guess we'll just do that. And then it's a self-defeating relationship. So you do have to have those conversations and recognize what you want is just as important as what your partner wants. And then know that it's healthy to prioritize your needs.
Merritt said, my wife always requires alone time. It drives me nuts because so much of her time and energy is already spent with clients or kids or grandkids. I would like at least 1 hour a day with her before bedtime.
That's reasonable. And it really comes down to Merritt, and for anyone that is dealing with this, the priority of relationship. Like I said, my priority in relationship is even before kids and even Victoria, our daughter, is on here, and she knows this about me. I was that way with her biological dad, and I'm that way with Jack. Is that our relationship is, other than the relationship I have with myself, is my primary relationship, and then family comes right into that right after. But you know, the way Jack feels and thinks and experiences life is a big part of what I'm invested in. And I know the same because we live this way together.
And I would say also, speaking to you, Merritt, and anyone else that this is applying to, the truth of it is coming in together into a relationship and both of you presenting and bringing to the table what it is you want to see. Maybe there's something like you right here, right now, and saying, okay, let's come together as a team and create a workable solution here. But if one of us isn't bringing our needs to the table, or we're just notoriously going without because we don't, for all of our many, many reasons, then you can't create a workable solution. If you're in a relationship with somebody that's willing to work together with you to create a solution, having both persons' needs matter at the top, right? So they're equally important. That's where the real conversation begins, and say, let's together work out a solution here.
Yeah. And one thing I really appreciate about you too is you never make me choose between kids or this. I mean, we both know that many couples will put their children above their relationship. I just came from a different way of understanding relationships, but it doesn't mean my kids aren't my, part of a huge part of my life. But man, our relationship, your kids grow up, they move out, and they don't want to hear what the fuck you have to say. They're making their own decisions. If you don't have that primary relationship developed, what are you going to lean on? I mean, this is a teamship here. Now, if something were to happen to Jack, I probably wouldn't remarry because I wouldn't be as invested as I am in this relationship, and I would feel okay single. But it's like, this is where I'm at with this one. And if you are in a relationship where people put one of the people puts the kids first, you'll always come second. So you have to get really clear on those types of things, and then see what you can work out with it. But this is really where we're at.
Yeah, I had something to say, but it's.
Oh, did I interrupt you?
No, you were talking. I can't remember what it was, but it is very, very, very important to be able to bring your desires and needs to the table. It's just critical for you to both have a healthy, happy relationship, and then create a new workable solution that you both agree to. And once you both agree to it, that's the new law, so to speak, right?
Yeah. Okay, so recognize that your needs are just as important, and be willing to have those conversations that feel a little uncomfortable. Even if there's a little conflict, that's okay. The conflict can be resolved, and that negative feeling that you're trying to avoid will go away. Okay, number 3, getting lost in your partner's emotions instead of having clear emotional boundaries. Okay, this is a big one. So it's important for you to know, if you are in a committed relationship, or this is your mate or your spouse, you will affect each other and how you feel. So if I'm having a bad day, Jack is gonna feel it. If he's having a bad day, I am going to feel it. That's just one of the things that happens if you decide to jump into a relationship and commit your life with another person. You will impact each other. And once you can really own that and say, yes, this is happening, half the battle is over. But what happens is, especially for empaths, we're like, I'm feeling all your emotions, and you can really, really get lost. And there's something that you can do so you don't absorb and get completely lost in the emotions of the other person. There are a few things to do, and this is great information. Okay. So cultivate your own hobbies, and interrupt me at any time because I can just, yeah. Cultivate your own hobbies, interests, friendships, activities that are separate from your spouse. Have your own grounding practices, you know, do your hypnosis, do your inner work, read the books that you love, those types of things.
Yeah, watch the movies that you love.
Yeah.
Do the things that really feel good to you. One of the practices I have that has always been a solitary practice that I love is walking in the mountains.
Yeah.
I love it, but I don't want to do it with Tiff.
No.
I want to do that with me. And
why don't you want to do it with me?
I don't know. I just like the solitary time.
Right.
Because that's when I have my closest connection with God and my angels. And I love the feeling, and it's very distracting to have you in my physical proximity.
It is.
When I'm trying to have inner time.
It's because you're always trying to make me
comfortable. I always want to touch you. Play with you.
Yeah, and one of the big issues is I'm like, oh my God, my foot, oh my back, oh my God. And you can't really enjoy that experience if I'm there and my energy is loud, even if I'm not talking.
You do have very, very boisterous, loud, big energy.
Yeah,
for sure.
Even when I'm not saying a thing,
yeah.
except when I'm falling asleep. And
it's so,
wonders if I'm dead.
I do. I do have a death fixation. I do. I really do. Probably for my life, whatever. But oftentimes I'll look over, and I've always done this with my kids. I think a lot of parents do look at their kids to make sure they're breathing. I do it all the time. I look over at Tiff and I'm like, she is really quiet. Are the covers moving? Is she alive? Well, the other morning I reach over and I like grab her elbow because I was kind of in that dream state, just coming into wakefulness. For sure she was dead in my mind. I'm like, she's dead. And I grab her arm and
she scared the crap out of me.
She looks at me like, what are you doing?
I'm like, what?
Like, I thought you were dead. Oh boy. Life. So exciting.
I'm thinking I might have a coughing fit.
Okay, that's
an energy thing.
Yeah, it is.
Excuse me. I hope that's not too loud. Oh crap, it's happening. Okay. So I'm going to go take care of this cough.
What number are you on?
I am now moving into trying to manage and contain your partner's
Well, that's
emotions.
a good one. I can talk all about that. Okay, so number 3 is when we try to manage, contain, or change our partner's emotions. I don't know about you, but I am an expert at trying to change Tiff's feelings. And this is not something I'm really proud of, but this is something that I can attest to. So one of the biggest issues, and Tiff will talk about it from her own perspective with me, but with her, she's a deep feeler. Obviously, she has tons of feelings and emotions. And we have 2 different approaches to the way we feel our feelings. And I have found myself, and it created a lot of conflict in our relationship. She would just want to share her feelings. And I would jump in really quick and, try to coach her back to a positive mindset. And she's like, I'm going to fucking kill you if you don't shut up. She doesn't say, she really doesn't say that. But I just like to make it a little theatrical for your viewing pleasure. But it would make her really mad, honestly. And she would just be like, fine, you know what? Never mind. I'm not asking for you to tell me what to do. I don't need to be coached. And that could be one of the downsides of living with your coach, right? But I really would jump in really fast and try to tell her what to think or what to do or what not to think or how what she's thinking, she could think it in a different way and feel better. That's never a good idea. This is her experience on this earth to feel all of her feelers. And so is it mine, and it's yours, and it's all of ours. We all signed up to have our own feeling experience here on this planet as a human being. And so when I would try to tell her what to do, she would get really irritated with me. It was a source of massive conflict in our relationship. Massive. So I think it would be awesome, Tiff, for you to share how you have found yourself trying to manage, contain, or change my emotions and what that's looked like for you.
I have had a pretty intense experience with this. Being a psychic medium and reading energy. I mean, I read energy, and energy doesn't lie, even sometimes when I wish it was not real. So I have had an issue in our relationship, which is I'm getting so much better, but to fix your emotions so I don't feel bad. I mean, if we're going to be real, let's get real. When Jack feels bad and I absorb that, I'm pissed because when I'm by myself, I'm just a little happy clam. I'm just peaceful, blissful. Like I have all this amazing energy moving around all the time around my head, and I can see amazing things and create amazing things. And then Jack comes home, and typically he's happy, but when he's not happy, I'm like, oh, ho, 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 back away. And it's like, okay, let's have a conversation. What's going on? And then I coach the shit out of him. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
You know,
It's okay. It is.
It's tricky, but we get really serious with each other about it. I mean, Jack is a human being and a person that has feelings and emotions and has his own path and all kinds of things. And I just don't want my energy disrupted. So, you know, I get really feisty sometimes, or I'm like, let's have a conversation. And I will see things often before he even knows it's happening. And you always talk about living in a glass house.
Yeah, that's one of the things. It pissed me off so hard when it really did. I'd get really resistant. My ego would come up hard, fast, loud. And she would say, I feel this, or I can feel this about you. And I'm like, no, what are you talking about? And as I allowed myself to get calmed down, then I would see, yeah, there was something coming up for me. And she's a psychic medium, gifted seer. And I would say, you know, it's like living in a glass house. It's as if I don't have an opportunity to fully feel all of my feelers from my own process because it was getting pushed or shoved a little bit faster than I was ready to recognize. And, you know, I'm just grateful for the conversation that we can have around this. Doesn't mean that either of us don't find ourselves in this place of with the other person. Yeah, we do. But it's a lot better. The more work we do, the more we talk, the more we communicate, the more shadow we see and embrace of ourselves, the more limiting beliefs we get rid of, the clearer.
Well, too, like with you having this human experience, I'm getting really good at this point of just saying he's just having his experience.
Now,
There's nothing for me. I don't have to absorb that. I can observe it and not absorb it. And
yeah, you're really good with it. Like you've gotten to the point where I don't feel like can't even think of the last time you've done that, where you pre-identify for me before I see or feel or recognize what's happening. It's been a long, long, long time. And I also really appreciate the fact, Tiff, when you are very, you know, if I'm having a bad day, that you have the ability, it's like we say we're going to go in the vault so we can just speak freely without having to worry about the other person either telling us what we should or shouldn't think. And that we can just say some of the things that are at top of mind so we can get it out of ourselves. We don't put a lot of weight on it. We just hold space for the other person. And I really appreciate when Tiff does that for me, where she just really listens. She's not trying to fix anything. She's just listening. She just knows I need to get it out of my head or off my heart so that I can just feel easier. And she doesn't take any weight with what I'm saying. She's not taking it personally. It's not about anything. And we've also gotten really good that when we need help with something, we will directly ask the other person until the other person asks for a direct, what do you see? Or do you have something that you can see that I'm missing here? For the most part, that doesn't happen. We don't just give advice to each other. I mean, I've really had to work at this. I'm going to be honest. I really had to work at this. I've really had to work at this.
You know, I also am Jack's wife, and we've been together a long time. I know him better than anyone on the planet. So when he gets home from work and he's got a migraine or he's got stuff, I know what he needs. I really do. I mean, because I can see energy, and I'm like, oh, if I can just get my hands on his face and head, I know exactly where the energy needs to be removed in his face. So I will take care of it. And
I love that.
He's open to that. But if I were to come after him and say, what did you do? And, you know, I need to fix this. Like, I really do come from a place of love of trying to assist him. So that happens. But there's been a lot of times where I'm like, oh, it's Friday date day and you're in a bad mood and you're not going to ruin this for me. So let's sit down and talk this out so that you don't ruin my day. And Yeah, it took me a while to figure out what the hell was going on with all of that. And now it's a very different story, but these are the topics that have to be discussed if you're in a committed relationship as an empath, because I know that most of you that are listening to this get it. You're like, oh God, right? And if you can just own to yourself, really some of the reason we want to help our partner is so we don't feel so bad.
Let's own that
Like,
fact.
let's get real.
That's what it's really about. That's what codependency is all about too. We're just trying to feel okay ourselves. So we do everything a certain way, and then we spend our life blaming the people for treating us or mistreating us. But really, we were just trying to control and manipulate energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay. So I think I went through all of them, all 4, right?
Well, I did 3, and then you came in, and I don't think you did 4.
Let me look here. I just don't want to
Belinda, I really appreciate the fact that you just said sometimes Kelly just needs to vent, and I want to fix it. It's hard not to fix it. I'm getting better. Good job.
Sure.
Yeah, it's really hard not to, because you love your person. You just want to make a difference and make it all better. But I don't think there's any person, male, female, or other on the planet that really wants someone to fix them or fix it, unless we are directly asking for help. And whether you're man, woman, or neutral, gender neutral, nobody wants to be fixed.
No.
Because that
and really nobody's
implies
broken.
we're broken, and
we're not.
So
we just all feel and perceive things differently than the next person.
Yeah.
We did cover everything. So I'm just going to go over the 4 things again really quickly, just so you can write them down if we did it.
Cheryl said, my husband always wants to fix. Yes, that is a very strong trait of masculine thing. And yes, and that's a loving conversation to have when you're not in the heat of the moment. And just saying, one of the best things you could ever do for me is just listen without trying to fix it. And if I need you to fix something, I promise you I'll ask you, because you're a good fixer. But honestly, most of the time I don't need that. And keep on with that conversation, Cheryl. Keep using your voice always when you're in a good place, not when you're already in a conflict, to bring that up. But that's an important point to make and continue making until you feel like you've been heard.
Mm-hmm. Okay, number 1, fear of intimacy or getting closer because you're afraid you will lose yourself. Oh, my papers are out. Oh, okay, here we go. So one of the solutions is to have that mindful alone time, right? So be mindful about it. Spend some time by yourself and have that conversation with your spouse. Number 2, is where the challenge is where partners, you'll put your partner's needs before your own. And this is where it's really important for you to cultivate hobbies and interests and friendships and activities, do your own rituals, things like that, so that you don't get lost in that. Okay. And then number 3, getting lost in your partner's emotions instead of having clear emotional boundaries, which, once you own that you are affected by the other person, if there's unhealthy things happening, that's when it's like, let's go to a therapist, or let's see if we can get this resolved. But you can definitely become the observer instead of the absorber, and you can observe. Okay. And then the last one was
trying to manage or change your partner's emotions.
Thank you. Yeah. And just realizing they're on their own path and road, and it's not your job to do that. And the reason that we're trying to do it in the first place is so that we don't absorb their negative feelings. So we're kind of desperate to fix that really quick so that we don't have to deal with it. And really, that's not fair. We can't really do that. So that's when you also become the observer, and you kind of stand back. And if they're having a hard time, it's like, is there something I can help you with? And if not, they're like, no, I just need alone time or whatever. Give them space. I mean, we need our space. They're going to need their space as well. And it's okay. Everybody works through their stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Everybody does. And Belinda, when you said, right, I have to wait to be asked, and that's a hard one for me. And here's a really great workaround when you're like chomping at the bit to try to help. It's like, well, I have a suggestion. Are you open to hear it?
Yeah.
Right? You can ask. You can just ask instead
and
of
barreling that in. Does keep it open, and resistance will stay down.
Because they stay at choice.
You need to do this.
You should.
Need to do that.
You need to. Yeah, boy.
Then the resistance comes up, and then the fights happen.
Yeah,
but it's like, I think I can see something. Is it okay if I share? Then it keeps the resistance down. It's very, very helpful.
Yeah, so there you go. There's a little bit about relationship. I did have a thought as we were sharing. If you're not a member of our Connected Empath Facebook group, we have an amazing 30-day I Am Grateful challenge where we have a daily post that we ask everyone to share in the thread. And it's beautiful and amazing. So if you're looking for some serious feel good when you're on Facebook, jump into the group. And if you're not a member, just ask to join and we'll get you right in, get you rolling. So Tiff and I are so glad that you're here. It's fun for me to see your names and your comments and your faces and your little profile pictures. And we're all in this together. Thank you for being a part and being a blessing in our life. It means a great, great deal to us. Have a really beautiful day. We'll be back next Thursday. We won't be here on the Thursday of Thanksgiving here in the United States, but we'll be back the week after and the week before. So we're going to have a great weekend. I hope you guys, we have Christmas is going up in our house this weekend because that's the way we roll. And
yeah, we put Christmas up before Thanksgiving, which really pisses a lot of people off.
Not me. I love it.
I'm like, why? You don't have to put your tree up. I'll put my tree up and you keep yours down. It's totally cool.
Yeah.
I don't care if you don't have yours up.
Right. Tiff and I are sending our huge, huge love. One of the things we would ask you, if there's ever something we share here, share us with your friends. Our recordings, all the recordings, wherever you're watching this, will live on our page, or you can reach out to me and I'll give you a link to it directly. You can share it with a friend. Anywhere that you can share us with your loves, we appreciate that. Thank you a million times. We're going to say goodbye.
Have a great weekend, everyone.
We'll be back.
Bye.
Bye, guys.